This season, we've seen some big surprises such as undrafted rookie sensation Kendrick Nunn, the sophomore campaigns of Luka Doncic and Trae Young, and teams exceeding expectations such as the Phoenix Suns and Boston Celtics. But today, we're going to look at the biggest disappointments to start this season. So if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. Last video, you guys smashed the like button, got over 4,000 likes. Let's try to beat that and get over 5,000 likes on today's video, and let's hop into it. Coming out of high school, there was a lot of hype for Cam Reddish, and rightfully so. He was a 6'8" small forward with over a 7-foot wingspan with the coordination and skill of a guard. By the end of his senior season, Reddish was a consensus top 5, typically top 3, projected pick in the 2019 NBA draft. He decided to join his fellow top 3 recruits at Duke University, and here we would see his draft stock begin to downtrend. Reddish really struggled with efficiency in his lone college season, getting 13 points a game, shooting just 36% from the field and 33% from 3. While his talent was clearly there, it was too little production to warrant a top selection in the draft. The Hawks decided to take a shot on Reddish with one of their 2 top 10 selections, getting him at number 10. It's safe to say Reddish has been one of the most disappointing rookies to start this season. It's the same situation as it was at Duke. The potential is clearly there, and he's had some impressive moments, but he's shooting with atrocious efficiency. Through 13 games, playing over 24 minutes a game, Reddish is getting just 7 points, shooting 27% from the field and 19% from 3. Now, I want to make this clear, this is almost unsustainably bad efficiency. I really believe that Reddish has way too much skill for him to not become at the least a respectable role player in this league, with potential way beyond that. The Utah Jazz went into this season with high expectations as they had a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert, a rising star in Donovan Mitchell, and made 2 great offseason pickups in Bojan Bogdanovic and Mike Conley. Most of this roster has been living up to those expectations, but there's been one glaring disappointment, and that's Mike Conley. While Conley is 32 years old, he's coming off a season where he got 21 points on solid efficiency, so there was no reason to believe Conley wouldn't have a positive impact for this team, especially considering his two-way ability. But to start the year, he's been heavily disappointing on the offensive side, getting 15 points a game, but shooting only 35% from the field and 33% from 3. Out of anyone that's taking at least 10 shots a game, Conley is shooting with the 5th worst efficiency across the league. I think and really hope Conley turns things around, and if he does, I think this team could be a real threat in the Western Conference. Ben Simmons was the number 1 pick in the 2016 draft, and after sitting out his first season due to injury, took home Rookie of the Year, getting 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists a game, shooting 55% from the field. Last season, we didn't see the jump that many expected, as he had practically an identical stat line to his rookie season, and to start this year, Simmons is disappointing, getting less than 14 points a game. Now, Simmons isn't playing bad, but given his expectations, it's disappointing. After his rookie year, it seemed like it was just the beginning and he could go nowhere but up, but since then, we haven't seen much of any progress. Now, the clear thing that's holding him back is his lack of any shooting ability, and I really mean any. He still doesn't and can't shoot from beyond the arc despite the offseason rumors that he has a newfound jump shot, hasn't really shown any ability to score outside of 3 feet, and possibly his biggest struggle, and something that could be a predictor that we should never expect consistent shooting from Simmons, is his free throw shooting, as on his career is just a 58% shooter. I honestly don't expect much obvious progress throughout the rest of his career, but still believe success is possible with a Simmons-led team. The 76ers roster isn't constructed around Simmons, and that's what he needs to make the most impact. Like we see with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best situation for Simmons is for him to have the ball in his hands as much as possible, surrounded by as much floor spacers as possible. We saw this at the end of his rookie season when the Sixers went on a 16-game win streak after adding Ersan Ilyasova and Marco Bellinelli to the roster. The roster at that point also had guys like Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and JJ Redick, all players that didn't score off the dribble or at least at much of any volume, but benefited from a gifted passer like Simmons. Yes, on face value, this team has floor spacing with guys like Al Horford and Tobias Harris, but they need touches that really limit Ben Simmons' value in the offense. I'm interested to see what happens with Simmons over the next couple of years. Will his game evolve? Will the 76ers look to move him? It's definitely going to be interesting to see. Since being drafted 4th overall in the 2014 draft, Aaron Gordon has steadily become a solid forward in this league. A season ago, he got 16 points and 7 rebounds a game, shooting 45% from the field and 35% from 3. Last season, it looked like he'd be his breakout year, but it was much the same or worse than the previous season. This year, Gordon hasn't gotten off to a great start, getting 14 points, but only shooting 42% from the field and 29% from 3. I think this is disappointing for the Magic, not just because he's one of their best players not playing to his usual self, but he's a huge factor of this this team's future success. If the Magic and Magic fans are content with low playoff seed mediocrity, then that's fine, but as you guys probably know, in order to climb up the conference rankings and really compete for a title, you need star players. While Vucevic is a top center in this league, he is far from someone that can be a #1 option on a competing team, and last season we saw him perform a disappearing act in the playoffs. Jonathan Isaac is becoming an elite level defender, but has a ways to go before becoming a high volume scorer on the offensive side. So unless you believe Markelle Fultz really has a path to NBA stardom, Gordon was their main hope given their reluctance to go into a rebuild. If Gordon's struggles continue, or more realistically his progress stagnates, the Magic are most likely going to be stuck in that dreaded NBA middle ground, where they'll have long-term contracts going to solid players, making them a solid, maybe even a playoff team, but won't have the chance to land top selections in the draft, which is their best chance at landing elite talent, given that they are the Orlando Magic. While no one wants to see every team that doesn't have a shot at the title tank, the Magic have a pretty low ceiling on this roster and should really look to move a lot of these solid veterans and build around their young talent, but it's the Magic, so they'll probably mess that up too. The Sacramento Kings were one of the most obvious losers this offseason, and that's looking very clear with almost every one of their free agency signings disappointing at the start of this season. I really question what goes through some of these front offices' heads. They had everything going right, some great young talent in De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Marvin Bagley. There weren't any contracts to complain about on their books, and they were already beginning to surprise people by just missing out on the playoffs last season. For some reason, they decided to extremely limit their offseason possibilities over the next few years by shelling out over $55 million a year in contracts, none of which really make this team any more frightening in the Western Conference. They gave an $80 million contract extension to Harrison Barnes, which was definitely an overpay, but we'll let that one slide. They gave a 3-year, $40 million contract to Dwayne Dedmon, who's getting just 5 points and 4 rebounds a game, playing behind Rashawn Holmes. They gave a 2-year, $25 million contract to Trevor Ariza, who's giving them just 4 points a game, and they gave a 3-year, $37 million contract to Corey Joseph, getting just 5 points a game on terrible efficiency. Given their contracts, they've all been early season disappointments, but the thing that's the most disappointing is that a front office of what's really a business worth over $1.5 billion decided to jeopardize this team's potential and shell out these terrible contracts. Darius Garland was a 16th ranked player coming out of high school and was most known for his insane handles and scoring off the dribble. He decided to go to Vanderbilt University, and to start the season in 4 games of play, he got 20 points a game, shooting 53% from the field and 48% from 3. In the 5th game of the season, he suffered a torn meniscus and would miss the rest of his freshman year. Despite the small sample size of games, Garland was projected to be a lottery selection in the draft, but towards the end of the draft process, got a huge bump in stock and ended up becoming the 5th overall pick to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Garland's stock was backed by his potential to be one of the best offensive point guards in the league. He had clear similarities to some of the NBA's top talent, such as Kemba Walker and Kyrie Irving. The reason Garland was drafted was to put the ball in the basket, and to start the season, that's been his biggest struggle. In the first 9 games and 28 minutes of play, he's getting 9 points a game, shooting just 33% from the field and 29% from 3. I'm still a big believer in his talent, and these early season struggles aren't necessarily a predictor for his future. The perfect example is Trae Young, who had very similar struggles to start his rookie year, but turned things around at the end of the season and is currently on a tear in his sophomore season. Julius Randle had a breakout year last season, going to 21 points and 9 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field and 34% from 3. He decided to sign a 3-year, $57 million contract with the New York Knicks, who then decided to sign 3 more players at his position, just another example of a terrible decision by an NBA front office. But to start the year, Randle was disappointed, getting 15 points, shooting just 42% from the field and 20% from 3. A lot of this can be attributed to Randle himself, but the terribly ran Knicks could be a factor. I'm not sure why Randle decided to join the Knicks. Given his contract, I'd be shocked if that was by far his highest offer, and even if that is the case, the difference would probably be wiped away by taxes and the cost of a New York luxury lifestyle. I really wish Randle would have took his talents to a team that he could really make a difference on. I don't think Randle's struggles will last, and I hope he can turn things around. Lauri Markkanen is one of the most promising young power forwards in this league. A season ago, he got 19 points and 9 rebounds a game, shooting 36% from 3 at just 21 years old. This season, we expected another jump, but he's gotten off to a very slow start, getting just 15 points, shooting only 38% from the field and 28% from 3. I don't expect this to hold up, but nonetheless concerning, especially for Bulls fans. There are a lot more players I could have mentioned in this video, but these were the ones I felt like highlighting. Now I want to make this clear if you made it this far in the video, we don't have a big sample size of games, as this is just the start of the season, and every year we see players go through their ups and downs. Everyone in this video could turn things around, but just like the community likes to hype up the players off to a hot start, I wanted to look at some of the players off to a less impressive beginning of this season. But that's the end of you guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and the shoutouts are gonna be Roberto, Buzzer, Logan, Ethan, and Kobe. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video and comment like or rep notification squad, and I'll shout 5 of you guys out. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.